Hey guys, I have a great topic today, probably my favorite topic. I want to talk about ideal clients and why it's important and how to get clear on who you want to be working with in your coaching business. This is truly like the starting point of getting your business going and a super important first step. And a step where so many people get stuck. They allow themselves to get stuck here and then they end up never moving forward with anything because they're like, I can't do anything until I know who my ideal client is. And they have no idea how to get clear on who their ideal client is, or they try to, or maybe even they go through things to help them do it and still end up not knowing. And so I want to clear up the confusion. Like, what does ideal client really actually mean? Why is it important? And how do you get clear on who that person is? First of all, I want to explain why ideal client is so important. So it isn't important from a stand of like, you can only work with this specific group of people, because a lot of us are like, I don't want to narrow down my ideal client. Like, I don't want to leave people out, and I know I could help people other than who my ideal client is. And that's fine. Like, that's awesome. You can help whoever you want. If someone comes to you and wants to work with you and they are nothing like your ideal client, you can work with that person. That is fine. But why ideal client is so important is from a marketing perspective. Because when it comes to marketing, we have to be really, really specific about who we're helping. Because otherwise, if you aren't, your messaging is just going to get lost and people aren't going to really understand what you do, and they're not going to know that you are the right person for them to work with, especially if you want to have an online business and you want to market online, because you're literally in front of millions of people. And if you just have a message and you're like, I help you get healthy, or I help you through tough transitions in your life, something like that, like, people have no idea what you're talking about. And your message, your ad, like your video, whatever you're putting out there is just going to go right by them, and they're not even going to pay attention to it. But if you start speaking in a way that is really specific to your ideal client and it really resonates with them on a deep level, then anytime you put out content and anytime your ideal client sees your stuff, they're going to stop. They're going to stop and they're going to be interested and they're going to want to know more, because they're going to be like, oh my gosh, is this person like following me around? Like, how does she know this stuff about me? How does she know what I'm struggling with, what I'm dealing with? And I think really like the key is to be able to understand and explain your client's problems better than maybe they could even explain it themselves. And when you're able to do this, people think, like they assume even, that you understand what's going on for them and that you can help them solve the problem. Because if you're explaining someone's problem and you're like, you're dealing with this and you feel like this and this is going on in your life, and they're like, oh my gosh, like that is totally it, then people are like, oh my gosh, she totally gets what I'm going through. And if you can say like, I'm on the other side now and I've been through it and I know how to fix it, then they're gonna be like, yeah, she gets it, she's been there, and I believe she can help me. And I also believe that this is really the key to doing marketing and to getting clients in a way that doesn't feel salesy or pushy in any way. Because when you have that messaging that really resonates with your ideal client, they're going to, like I said, they're going to believe that you get it and that you can help them. And this is so important. And I think really like the key to marketing is to having this really, really powerful message. And then you're not having to go and like chase people down or, try to talk them into working with you. They actually see what you're talking about and they want to work with you. Like, it really magnetizes people to you. And I think this is what we all want in our marketing. We don't want to feel like we're chasing people down or we're talking people into working with us. We want people to see our stuff and come to us and want to work with us. It really changes how you feel about your business. And it's really a cool place to be when you can have messaging that is that strong. So the more specific you can get, the better. And do not tell yourself that you can't get specific or you're leaving people out. And a lot of time, this is a saying and you've maybe heard it, but by trying to serve everyone, you end up serving no one. Because once again, your messaging is so vague that no one really resonates with it and they don't really understand. So, and I think about it this way, like if you're telling someone about what you do and who you help, you want them to be able to be like, oh my gosh, I know someone who's dealing with this and would be a perfect fit and could really use your help. And you have to be really specific to do that. If you are really vague about what you do and you're just like, I help people get healthy or help people develop healthier eating habits, like people are like, okay, whatever. Like no one's going to come to mind that they're like, yes, this person should work with you. But if you're really specific, like I help, like let's say, women who are struggling, who are overweight, struggling with diabetes, and are moms or something like that. You know, people are gonna be like, oh my gosh, I know someone who is exactly that fit. And you can get even more specific about that or than that. But this is really the power of having that ideal client and getting really specific about it. So let me know if you guys have any questions about that so far. Otherwise, I'm going to dive into I really have 4 steps that I think help you get clear on your ideal client. And if you go through this, I know it's going to help you get a lot more clear. So number 1, I always recommend knowing your story and like actually going through and writing out your story, your personal story, your personal transformation. And why this is so important is because most of us end up helping people who are similar to us and are struggling with something that we have struggled with. This isn't a requirement, like you don't have to, but I think it's much easier for us to do this because we can create content and write from a place of having been there and understanding what our client is going through. And so I think it becomes a lot easier for you if you actually pick something from your own story to help people with. Like I said, this isn't a requirement. It isn't absolutely necessary. You could help kind of someone random, but I do believe it's going to be a lot harder for you to create content and to really create that emotional connection with people because you aren't coming from a place of having been there and really understanding it. So I would go through, like, write out your whole story, like everything you've been through, the things you've struggled with, the things you've overcome, and write them all down. A lot of us have a number of different things, but getting them all out on paper and being able to see them is really going to help you see, like, oh my gosh, yeah, I've gone through all these different things. I've overcome all these different things. And then you have it written there and you can kind of see what your options are. Yeah, you have definitely, Jody, you have more passion when you're speaking from experience, like absolutely. And I've always helped people, even when I was doing functional medicine, I was helping people with digestive issues because something I had struggled with. When I was doing health coaching, helping women around emotional eating and body image because something I had struggled with. And now I'm helping people start their business because, once again, I had to figure out how to start my business, and it was something that was challenging for me too. So everything that I've helped people with I've been able to help people from my own experience, and it really brings another level of passion to it because I'm like, oh my gosh, like I get it. I've been there. I've gone through all these things, and I also know what it's like on the other side. And so I'm really passionate about helping people make that transformation. So the other thing, like if you don't have a story and you're not like, oh, I haven't been through, some big transformation, then I would ask yourself, what inspired you to get into health, wellness, coaching? Because there's something that made you want to go down that path, and maybe there's something there. Maybe if it's even something that like a family member went through or a friend or, something. There's something there that has inspired you to go down this path of wanting to help others. And so I think there can be some information there for you too. So then number 2, so that was number 1. Number 1 is knowing your story and writing it all down and getting clear on it, your personal transformations. And then number 2 is going through that story, whether it's yours or you're looking at what inspired you, and picking a specific problem from that list that you feel most passionate about helping people solve. So anytime we're coaching, it's around helping someone solve a specific problem, okay? So pick a problem, the problem you're most passionate about helping people solve, And it should be a problem that you feel confident that you can help people solve as well. That's super important. So it needs to be something that you've gone through and come out the other side. Doesn't mean you need to be perfect where you're at right now, but you need to feel like, yes, I've been through this myself, or I know someone that's been through it, and I feel confident that I can help people solve this problem. Okay, so pick one specific problem. That's number 2. Number 3 is get really clear on who this person is that you're helping that has this problem. And for most of us, once again, this person is typically a version of us or a lot like us. So even like for me, like to give you this, or let's go into like for let's say weight loss, because it's like a big topic. So let's say the problem that you're helping people solve is losing weight, right? Like that's really vague. There's tons of people out there selling weight loss. So how are you actually going to stand out? And is by getting really specific about who that person is that you help lose weight, okay? So I would go into like, let's say specifically you want to target women. Let's say it's women between the ages of 45 and 55. And let's say it's women who are in corporate America. Maybe they're in leadership roles and they find that their job is stressful and they are emotionally eating to deal with their job stress. Okay, like we just got way more specific. And maybe they're moms, something like this. Like we want to get as specific as possible about who this person is so that we can really tailor our marketing to talk to that person. And let's say even this, maybe that person has about 20 pounds to lose. Okay, we can get really specific within that, within weight loss or within whatever niche you decide, whatever ideal client you decide you want to be helping, or whatever problem you're helping solve. You want to get really specific about who that person is. And just to give you like another example, like I'm a business coach. Like there's millions and millions of business coaches out there, right? Or at least thousands and thousands of business coaches. So to get more specific, I work with health coaches. I work with mostly introverted health coaches and people who are usually like interested in nature. I work with a lot of people who have some sort of like a health background before they switch over into health coaching. So because I do as well. So like a lot of these like even more specific things that you can dive into as far as who that person is. And the more specific you can get, the better. You should almost be like, is this too specific? Like, am I getting too specific? Then you're on point. Like if you feel like it's almost too specific. So then the last step, and I kind of talked about this before too, but number 4 is how you solve that person's problem. And you want to be clear on that. You want to make sure that this is a problem you feel confident that you can help that person solve. So like I said, you want it to be something that either you've gone through personally and you've come out the other side and gone through that transformation. Now you're like, I know I can help this person from my own experience and from, maybe what you've learned through your training, and feel confident that you can help them get that result and how specifically you're doing it. Because obviously, going back to weight loss again, like there's a lot of different ways that you can help someone lose weight. You can help someone lose weight by doing like a keto diet, by doing a vegan diet, by like starving themselves, you know what I mean? Like by eating like shakes, by exercising all the time, by there's so many different ways, by changing your mindset, by dealing with the triggers to emotional eating. Like, so as you can see, like there's so many different ways that you can help people solve these problems. So you want to be clear, like, okay, I know that I can help people solve this problem, and I know that the process is going to be this. And it may kind of be a combination of different things as far as your process, but you want to make sure it's like, I feel confident I can help people solve this problem. And knowing like what you're going to include in that. And that goes into creating your program as well. But I think when you're thinking about your ideal client, you want to feel really confident that someone you feel like you can help get that transformation that they want. Oh, that was the other thing. So when you're talking about a specific problem, make sure, so that was number 2, make sure that you are using your client's words, not your words. You can't say like, I help someone, I had a client who said this, so I help someone listen to their body so that they can lose weight or something like that. Like that's really coach lingo, and no one would ever come up to you and say, I want to learn how to listen to my body so I can lose weight. Like no one would say that. So you need to use your client's words as far as how they would describe their problem. So make sure you're doing that. You don't want to use like coach lingo that people don't understand, and it's just like woo woo, and they're like, I don't know what you're talking about. So that's really important. So there was the 4 steps. I'm going to go through them again. So number 1, know your story. Number 2, know the specific problem, and it should be one main problem that you help people solve. Number 3 is, who is that person with this problem? Get as specific as possible. And number 4 is really getting clear on the solution you provide, so how you solve that problem. So those are the 4 steps, and that is why ideal client is really important. It's really important in your marketing. Like I said, you don't need to like turn people away if they come to you and they don't fit this ideal client profile. That's fine. You can work with someone that doesn't. For example, I specifically market to women, but sometimes I get men that come to me and ask me to work with them. And I'm totally fine with working with men, but it's not necessarily my ideal client as far as who I'm marketing to, but that's fine. So same thing for you. Like it doesn't mean you have to turn people away or you can't work with them, but from a marketing perspective, you want to be as specific as possible. So let me know if you guys have any questions about that. Do you have any questions about your ideal client in particular, or where you're getting stuck? I'd be happy to answer them. And the other thing is, I have an ideal client guide that I created that you can go through. It walks you through these steps, has little spaces for you to write in as well. And I'll connect the link. I'll put it up above this video so you can download that too. And I'd actually go through and do it. You can't just like think about the stuff in your head. You actually need to write it out. So make sure you write out all these things that I just talked about, and I would go through and download and fill out that guide as well. 'Cause writing it is where you get really clear. You can't just think about it and not write it. If you get really stuck on ideal client, it's something I help all my clients with. And it's really important to get clear on it, really important to get clear on your messaging, because it's what we use to create all your marketing. So I help you set up marketing systems, get in front of your ideal client, get people in a way that feels really like coming from a way of building connections and telling people how you can help them, never being pushy or salesy, never having to run down and chase people. Like there's lots of things you can do for marketing, but my big thing is teaching you how to market in a way that feels really good, and really I think serves those of us who are introverted and don't necessarily want to be out there like networking all the time and feel like we're chasing people down or doing anything that comes across as salesy and pushy. This is why I really help all my clients create a super powerful message and come up with systems that allow you to market in a way that feels really good and truly is kind of hands off. Like you can set up a lot of these systems and they'll run for you, which I think is awesome. And such a great way to build your business, especially if you want to have online business with lots of freedom and flexibility. So if you guys have any questions about any of that, please let me know. If you're interested in getting any support with your business, send me a message, let me know, and I'd be happy to speak with you about that. And like I said, any questions, or if you catch the replay and you have any questions about ideal client, feel free to send them my way. I'm happy to answer them. All right, guys, thank you everyone so much who joined me. I love connecting with you guys, and have a great rest of your week and a great weekend, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.